One. Ooh, yay, we're live. Woohoo. Hey, aloha, love tribe. Welcome to the Bitcoin Peace and Music podcast. I have somebody here who is a kindred spirit in so many ways as myself, Knut Svanholm. He is a sailor, a musician. He's the author of Everything Divided by 21 Million. And he is, right here. Woo, woo. I got to meet him in Miami, and I'm so honored to have you on the show. Welcome, Knut.
Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah, nice to see you again.
You too.
We met during I think that was my last night in Miami. My flight left like in the afternoon, so I could enjoy that entire night. But I had a huge chunk of conference fatigue, for lack of a better word. Uh, yeah, but we had some interesting conversation. It was you, me, and Eric Dahle from Norway, and
Mhm.
someone else as well. I don't remember his name, but yeah, we had some deep conversations even that night. Like uh, just running on, my brain was running on fumes.
I know. Well, it was really cool because we got to go to the remnant dinner, and then we are like, let's go hang out
Yeah,
after. And I liked the conversation because we were talking, if I recall correctly, we were talking about defining like absolute, what is truth? Like how can we
yeah,
define
yeah.
really, like how
Oh
can you
yeah.
say that something is true or not? And then we were talking about obviously how that relates with Bitcoin and other things. So that was
Yeah.
exciting for me. You
Yeah,
guys,
yeah, and
yeah.
Eric was firing up on all cylinders too.
Yeah,
Like
you
he,
too.
yeah,
I remember you're like, "Rah!" So it was really fun to hang out with you two, all through. And I feel horrible. There was a gentleman. He was from Truckee in Tahoe, and he came with us. And
Mm,
I'm so sorry, I forgot your name, but it was fun
yeah. I'm
hanging out.
sorry too.
Uh,
We had a good conversation, but I forgot his name too.
Oh my gosh, seriously? Like,
There are so many names though. Like when you're at these conferences, I just came back from Riga last week.
yeah, how was it?
Uh, awesome, absolutely awesome. But
I
you
was.
know that since Miami and during Miami, so many weird, s- surreal things have happened to me. Like in terms of who, like what people I'm having conversations with now. So it's sort of hard to take it all in, and I've been like pinching myself ever since. So I'm trying to like get an objective view of what Riga was really like, and yeah, it was awesome. uh, what can I say? You get to meet all these people, and Riga is sort of where my Bitcoin career, for quote unquote career, took off in 2019. I
Okay.
was relatively unknown back in 2019, but I brought 50 books in a bag to Riga in my hand luggage, and I gave 25 away and sold 25. And I befriended like Gigi and Max Hillebrand and the Wizard of Oz and all sorts of awesome people. Really, I'm the luckiest man in the world to connect with all of these great minds, and yeah, I this is the true value of Bitcoin lies in the network of people you get to hang out with, and it's just, yeah, time of
It
my life.
it is. I seriously, I feel like the people that I've gotten to meet so far, including yourself, of course, it's like everybody is so on board on the mission. Everybody is so interested in, serving the betterment of humanity with this wonderful tool from Satoshi. And it's just like, I feel like Bitcoin brings out the best in us and it brings the best of us together. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And,
that,
and,
that was the title of my talk in Riga. Bitcoin's killer app is you. Like I think that the really underrated aspect of this thing is how it changes people. You hear often that it changes you more than you can change it, but few people grasp what that really means, because that means so much for everyone in it, and what we're able to do without even thinking of using money. We're just better to one another, and yeah, it's a profound thing.
how has it changed you? How has it changed your relationships and your way of looking at the world?
In yeah, so many ways. the I quit my fiat job a bit more than a year ago, and moved down to Spain to our holiday home here. Took
Nice.
my family, and like I needed a change of environment if I was going to do this full time, and like I needed a big change.
Yeah.
Uh, and I had a good fiat job, and I had like a life laid out for me that wasn't that bad. I mean, I could have done all of that, and had a pretty, solid future to look forward to. But I chose not to pursue that, because it was too boring. and and the thing was, I was stressed all the time, even though it was so predictable. And now nothing is predictable. Things just keep on happening in different ways than I ever thought were possible. But all the stress is gone. I'm like, uh, a different person. So it's very. I feel very privileged, for lack of a better word,
Mhm.
to be in this position and being able to make a living off of rambling about Bitcoin.
uh, I know you're humbly saying rambling, but your work is very very insightful and prolific, and I really love. I just listened to Independence Reimagined, and that guy read, and so I got the audio book because I hadn't gotten that one yet. And of course,
Oh,
this book is great, and I haven't the math one. I don't know, Knut. What do you think? Sovereignty through mathematics for a little
there's not
DJ
much
brain like me.
mathematics in it.
There's no mathematics in it, really.
No, no, not really.
Okay, let's
It's
go.
more about sovereignty through praxeology than mathematics, really. But so that, don't let the title scare you off, because it's probably the simplest of the three, to follow.
Really?
Like I think the latest one is probably the deepest one, and like the more complicated one. The first one is easier, I think. Yeah.
You did okay. So but sovereignty through mathematics was your first one, correct?
Yeah, that's semi true. I like to think of it as my first one, but I wrote one before that called 3 Minute Reads on Bitcoin, which was just a compilation of all the articles I had written up until that point.
Is
So
that
it's
here
not
on
it.
your site?
No, it's not even on the site, because I'm in hindsight, I don't really want, because that's one of the reasons I wrote Sovereignty, like because I thought this collection of articles didn't really, that was the only thing I had my name attached to on the internet at that point, as a book. And I thought, like, I need to write something proper about this subject, so I have something to show for myself. And so I wrote Sovereignty Through Mathematics, and I had a good editor, and some good help in finalizing that. And yeah, I'm very proud of that book. It's recommended on MicroStrategy's website, hope.com,
Nice.
and a whole bunch of other Bitcoin sites. It yeah, I could never have imagined that it would take off the way it did, but I'm very proud of it.
So how in your heart and soul did you decide like I'm going to start writing about Bitcoin? It's one thing to go learn Bitcoin and become, yay, I'm a Bitcoiner. It's another to go tackle these subjects and write
Uh,
books about them.
okay, the story is like I learned about Bitcoin in 2014, 15, something, and decided to deep dive into it and take an online course in 2016. So I did that course, and there was also a master's program that you could take, which would have, it was quite expensive, and I thought, like, I might as well just buy some Bitcoin and not take that course and see where this leads. And you know, I already had a degree and everything, and I didn't really feel like switching careers or anything at that point. So I decided to, and I just read "Skin in the Game," but by Nassim Taleb.
Oh, I
Uh,
haven't read that book yet.
it's about how, in order to excel at something and be really good at something, you have to have something to lose.
Mm.
basically. So that's why I choose not to use a pseudonym or anything, but to to use my real name and open myself up like that. And I think the book is better because of that. The end product. Anyway, I started writing articles about Bitcoin instead in 2017. At the time, I had a job. I was the captain of a small crew transfer vessel, taking out technicians and riggers to wind turbines in the Baltic and the North Sea.
Wow.
Uh, and at this point, we the technicians we were our clients were um, climbers. So they went up the turbine up into the nozzle and then hung down long cables down each wing. So they stopped the whole turbine from turning, and during uh, less windy days, of course, and hung down these cables and cleaned the entire wing of the turbine. So while they were doing that, because that took a while, of course, so we went out in the morning, dropped them off, and then moored at another turbine close by. And then we had like 10 hours of nothing. We were just moored to a wind turbine without any internet connection or anything. So and I have sort of ADD or something. I don't really know what, but I'm probably on the spectrum. So I
Me,
needed.
me too.
So I'm like, what to do? My colleague was just sitting there in a chair looking at the wall for 10 hours, and I'm like, I need to do something. So I got bored with all the phone games and everything. So I started writing. I had all these thoughts about Bitcoin, so I decided to just start writing and putting them down. So that's what I did. Then I started writing these articles and publishing them. And after a while, they sort of took off. Sorry. So, and here I am.
And here you are. I mean,
Yeah.
so you're a captain. You're also you're a sailor, also, right? And so captain and
Yeah.
sailing and
Yeah.
everything.
The
Yeah.
sailing was. I met my wife on a tall ship. We were. I was sailing around the North Atlantic at the time. Um, After having finished the Merchant Marine Academy and getting my degrees, uh, mm, I had a position as a second officer and as a chief officer on a tall ship with high school students on board for 8 years. So we
No way.
sailed around the Atlantic and saw about 40 different countries, and stayed for like 6 days in each country.
Oh my God.
So
What
that's
was
what
your
I did.
favorite part about doing that? Because I used to teach college kids sailing and lived on a boat for 3 years and got my charter
Mm.
boat captain's license. So,
Oh,
um,
nice.
yeah. What was your favorite part?
My favorite part, seeing the world, I guess,
Yeah.
and visiting new places. I mean, I love traveling. I love seeing new places and meeting new people. Uh, I also like. I probably wouldn't voluntarily cross the Atlantic again, but I'm glad I have that in my bag of experiences. I'm glad I did that, and you know, sitting under a starry sky and having no worry in the world, and just playing some guitar and thinking. I enjoy that a lot.
It's magical, right? Like you I don't know about you, but I get a sense of infinity when I'm out there
Yeah,
underneath the stars on the water and just the vastness of it all, like the contemplating
yeah.
everything. It really is a great environment for that expansive energy. And so the fact that you also started writing these Bitcoin articles while you were out there at
No,
sea,
not really. I didn't start writing them on the tall ship though.
not on the tall
But I
ship, but
think no,
you were on the
but I
water.
think I was like primed. That sort of primed me for the
Yeah.
Bitcoin journey that
Yeah.
was to come later.
It's
And
so
the thing is, like, it, when I came to Riga in 2019, and like I thought that these my past would like hinder me in the Bitcoin space, because I was not a computer scientist. I didn't know, I didn't have a degree in network engineering or economics or finance or any kind of background that you could relate to Bitcoin, really. So I came from a completely different world.
Mm-hmm.
But I've realized in hindsight that that was good for this. Like, people find it intriguing that I have this weird background, and I guess that uh, that sort of allowed me to approach this from a different angle. I hope that's the case, at least, and I think people underestimate the uniqueness of their own journey, because, like,
Mm-hmm.
at the time, to me, that whole sailing experience was just my day job, and I didn't think that much of it. I was just some sail bum doing a low paying bullshit job. But in hindsight, every experience is worth something, and you are
Yeah,
the sum of your experiences. And
exactly.
so don't underestimate the boring drudgery of normie life. It will teach you something if you listen to what it's trying to tell you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, uh, I don't know about you, but I'm in the second half of life, and
Mhm.
the second 50, and I have a huge array of things that I've gotten the opportunity to do, whether it's bartending or waitressing or making tacos at Jack in the Box or being a CFO of a staff leasing company, being a charter boat captain, being a DJ, being a mom, all of it, and changing poopy diapers that splattered all over me. Like, all of those things, they're like the thumbprints in the sculpture that is us. And we're this beautiful masterpiece. And all those
Yeah,
little thumbprints really do matter, and
yeah,
they inform, how we look at the world, the belief systems that we carry, the actions that we decide on. And I think
and
everybody, should remember, like, they're all valuable, just like you said. I
yeah,
really, really agree with that.
the longer you live, the more unique your story becomes.
Yeah. And the more opportunity you have to relate with different types of people, around the world. I think that for me too, I'm like you. I'm like, I'm not a computer scientist. I'm not like a $1 million, finance person or anything. And I'm like, well, who am I to go talk about Bitcoin? And I'm like, well, this is my angle that I can offer, and I can talk to folks through this lens, of love and music and peace and harmony and all this good stuff, and why Bitcoin is a great tool for humanity and freedom, and hopefully creating a better world for all of us. And so, because some people, out there may not want to listen to what's cryptography and what, all the things. They just want to know, like, how can I get something that's not going to melt for my family and
Yeah,
save for my family's future. And so, um, I think, whoever's listening to this, it's very important. Just remember that your uniqueness has value, and it can add to the whole of humanity and the whole of the Bitcoin experience too. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
and that's also a very refreshing thing about Bitcoin, is that it's a pure meritocracy.
mhm,
This is completely new, so it doesn't matter at all what you did before Bitcoin.
yeah.
What you do, what you've done during these past 12 years, that's what you're going to be judged by in Bitcoin. You're not going to be judged by anything preceding that.
Yeah, and what do you say, like, I'm noticing, like, there's definitely some folks who are coming in from, the crypto world, and they're like, "Yeah, I wanna be a Bitcoiner now." I'm like, "Yes, I'm so happy because finally people are waking up to, you know, shit coins, and those things are not necessarily so great, and Bitcoin's better." Like, I think unfortunately some people have treated people not as kindly, because it's like, we want, eventually everyone's going to kind of wake up and understand Bitcoin. It's going to eat the world, like you say in your book.
It might
So
take a couple of generations, though.
It might. Who knows? I mean, I feel like with all the stuff that's going on with the merge yesterday with ETH and like, did you see the thing with Greenpeace is like more advertising about,
Yeah,
oh, this is
yeah,
so great.
yeah. I've
It's
seen
such
it. It's
bullshit.
cringy as fuck.
It's
I
totally
mean,
cringy. And I feel like,
Greenpeace is like, but I think that like the Greenpeace Twitter handle is obviously handled by one guy uh,
mm,
who has these opinions and who's misinformed about Bitcoin. Because if there's anything on this earth that can quote unquote save the environment, it's Bitcoin. It's that we have no other choice. Because what all of these people criticizing Bitcoin's energy use miss is that they don't see the alternative cost. I mean,
yeah.
the consensus algorithm for the dollar is world war, and there is nothing worse for the environment than world wars.
Ugh.
So you're missing the point. This is the absolute best use of energy ever, because it's pure. It's just pure energy converted into scarce number, which makes like the perfect truthful money, which is the perfect expression of human valuations and what humans want out of life. And the beauty of it is like, since it's absolutely scarce and in the long run deflationary, it makes us sooner or later realize something that I love this quote from my grandfather, whom I've never met
Mm.
uh, because he died before I was born. But he said something that trickled down through the generations, and that was, that which you can do without, you own. And that stuck in my brain. It's probably one of the sentences that made me realize, made me cling on to Bitcoin early on, because that which you can do without, you own, means that if you don't crave fucking Lambos, you own every fucking Lambo in the world, because it's about controlling your mind. And
Yeah.
like, uh, if you have no other material needs than a toothbrush and a comb and like a guitar and a laptop, I mean, you can do everything with that. So why let your possessions control you instead of you controlling them? And
Yeah.
that's what you can do without your own. That is what I hope that Bitcoin will lead to in the future. Fewer monetary transactions, fewer, you know, that's the another irony. There's so many ironies in Bitcoin, and one of the biggest ones is like that the need for money goes away. If you're deep enough into Bitcoin, you won't even need money. So yeah, it's just beautiful.
It is beautiful. I feel like for me too, just considering the long term, way that I'm thinking now instead of the old way that I was thinking, more short term focused. How am I going to survive today? All those things. Obviously, we have survival instincts and mechanisms, especially as parents. We have to provide for our kiddos and all of that. But really, like, to me, the best way to provide for them is adopting Bitcoin for the future and spreading Bitcoin for the future and for their future. And so, um,
Absolutely.
is your family, are they all Bitcoiners?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, I would I would be lying if I said anything but that I'm the biggest Bitcoiner of the bunch. But they've seen. I mean, they know that we couldn't have really done this move and everything without this happening. So they know the importance of this thing, even though they're not like what's a Bitcoiner then? Well, where do you draw the line?
Right.
I mean, I would call my wife a bigger Bitcoiner than any shitcoiner, even though she very rarely uses Bitcoin in the medium of exchange sense of the word.
Mhm.
So I think you can use Bitcoin in so many different ways. Just thinking about Bitcoin is using Bitcoin in a way. Talking about it is using it. Everything is using Bitcoin if you're just aware of it.
Yeah, I really feel like it is a mindset too, like being a Bitcoiner to me is like it's a mindset that accompanies, yes, I believe in Bitcoin. I use Bitcoin, but it's like your value systems. I think the people you've never been to Burning Man, have you?
No, but I have a bunch of friends that have.
Yeah. So Burning Man is an interesting subculture that reminds me, I think there's a lot of parallels with the Burning Man culture and ethos that there are with Bitcoiners. And
Yeah,
there's a certain value, a set of
the,
values that we share as
the
burners and as
thinking hippies.
yeah, well, and it's like not just thinking, but it's like acting too, it's
Yeah,
like we're
the
walking the
acting
talk.
hippie. Yeah, the
Yeah,
acting hippie festival.
yeah, and it's like you walk the talk and you believe in, self-responsibility, you believe in autonomy and sovereignty. It's really cool. I just really enjoyed like kind of comparing the two a lot and meeting the different people from both communities, especially the ones that overlap. It's a really interesting. I think it's really just it's awesome. Just because if
I
you know you're meeting a Bitcoiner, it's almost like come over to my house for tea. Like I already know
I
you. I know these things about you,
have
right?
have you been to a lot of Burning Man festivals?
I've been
Yeah.
to 5.
All right,
Yeah.
because like this was maybe between 5 and 10 years back.
Mhm.
And when I say that, it's probably more 10 than 5. But a bunch of friends of mine from the sailing world built a sailing wagon that sailed across the Nevada desert. Uh, so this crazy idea, they built this thing in cut down trees in some forest in Sweden to make the masts and everything.
Wow.
They uh, yeah, really hardcore old traditional ship people. uh, so they built this thing and shipped it in a container to the U.S. and then flew over for Burning Man and sailed across the Nevada desert with it.
Oh my god.
There's like a part of that desert that is just very very flat, like
Mhm.
salt plains or whatever they're called.
Yep.
I don't remember the entire story, but just a bunch of you know middle-aged guys having some sort of midlife crisis, doing this thing because why not?
It just seriously, the art and the collaborative spirit, the creativity that comes out of Burning Man is unparalleled to anything I've ever seen around the whole world. And it is it's so cool because you can't just go there and say like, whatever, Coca-Cola sponsored this ship that's sailing. It's none of that. It's just like we're making a cool ass ship and it's art and that's it. You can't put your logos on anything. You can't, exchange money for things. It's very, very it's the most unique thing I've ever done, from a festival
you,
point of view.
you
And
can't exchange money for anything.
you do excuse me, you can buy ice. You can buy ice. That's it.
Okay,
And
but well, what do they count as money then?
well, the
I'm curious because like this is a deep philosophical, like, what is money?
well,
Here we
so
are again.
yeah, exactly. Well, so the spirit of Bitcoin, or excuse me, the spirit of Burning Man is, you bring in everything that you need. You're fully self-reliant on, your water, your waste, everything. They do have porta potties, which is great, and you can buy ice. That's it. Um, if you want to, they have a mindset of the gifting economy. And so
Mhm.
the idea is you go there and if you want to bring a bunch of cool books, you can give books. If you want to make bracelets or decorate some sunglasses to give to people, whatever. And the idea out there is the spirit of a gift. It's not a barter. And so they're not, if I see you and I'm like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. Here's this really cool thing. I want to give it to you. You're not required or obligated at all to give me anything back. Maybe you want to give me a hug. Okay, cool. So it's an interesting philosophy. I don't think we can translate it
That
necessarily
that
yet.
is Bitcoin though.
Say it
Like
again.
that is my experience with other Bitcoiners, and this is why I named my talk in Riga that, because like
Mm,
when I think back over these 3 years when I've really become more of a public Bitcoin guy, uh,
yeah.
I've I've received so much help from other Bitcoiners. It's ridiculous. Like uh, translators, proofreaders, editors, animators, narrators, web people, programmers, you name it. I've just received this huge amount of help and gifts and whatever from And the thing is, we very rarely exchange sats with each other. We could like easily have charged one another for this. I guess I'm providing something too. I'm providing, my work.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. And the realization I have is like, why is this? Why are Bitcoiners more awesome to one another than other people, than normies? And I think the two main reasons are, first of all, Bitcoiners want Bitcoin to succeed.
Yeah.
So by extension, we want other Bitcoiners to succeed,
Hmm.
which is part of why I'm on this pod, and which is part of why you are interviewed. We are pumping our bags, for
Yeah.
lack of a better term. The other thing is, we have a lower time preference. So we're keen on saving our sats and
Mhm.
not spending them on frivolous bullshit. We don't crave Christmas gifts. We want that which you can do without you own, and all of that.
Yeah.
So these things taken together means that we're more willing to give away our reputational capital and our time and effort
Yeah.
than our stack, because our stack is so, we know how valuable it is and how valuable it can become. We know this binary bet of everything from zero to everything divided by 21 million. That's like, it's either Bitcoin goes to zero or it goes to everything divided by 21 million. So what I realized is that this is just Gresham's law playing out on a Bitcoin standard. Being awesome to one another is Gresham's law on a Bitcoin standard. So just like in Venezuela, when people use their bolivars before they use their dollars, because the dollars are more precious to them than their own crappy currency,
Hmm.
our time and effort is less valuable to us than our Bitcoin stacks. So we're using the shitcoin of us being awesome instead of using our stacks.
Yeah.
You see where I'm getting at? And that's just another like epiphany, for lack of a better word, uh, uh, like another insight about how much this, just the concept of we have this thing now, it changes us so much, because all Bitcoin is an agreement between people on a fixed set of rules.
Yeah.
So I liken it to the rules of chess. Everyone who's playing board games knows the rules of chess, and they know that there's a consensus among chess players on what the rules are. Of course, there's probably some chess institution here and some other chess institution there that say that they're the official chess rules come from them or whatnot, but people don't really care. If they introduce, like, now the rook can move in circles or something, people won't buy that. They will still play traditional chess. So you need a consensus for the rules to change, and it's very hard to change the rules. And Bitcoin is just like that. Bitcoin Cash was akin to like a chessboard with, instead of 8x8 squares, it's like 64x64 squares, but the same number of pawns. So it's just a pointless game. Ethereum is like chess, but you can program the queen to move in certain patterns, and it's just slows down the game and doesn't make it more interesting, really. And so that's what Bitcoin is. It's just an agreement between people on a way to interact with one another. Because a monetary transaction in Bitcoin terms is nothing more than a voluntary interaction or a consensual interaction between two human beings. Like, we're having a value transaction right now. We're talking to each other, so we're exchanging something of value with one another. And with perfect money, there's no difference between that and a monetary transaction.
And so let's talk about that, because yes, we're talking about Greenpeace and the whole, like, change
Oh
the
yeah,
code, change the Bitcoin code and all that. And it's like, go ahead. You're free to. Like, you're
yeah.
totally welcome to go change the
I
code and the
tweeted that
rules and go
today.
play that game. Like,
Yeah.
go for it. No, nobody's stopping you, and people have
No.
done it. And so go ahead and do that. Where
Yeah.
Bitcoin is its
So
own
to
game.
Greenpeace, that's like, go ahead, play chess without the rooks, or play chess without the pawns.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll find another player somewhere that wants to do that. but you're not getting the network effect of all the players, like, because that's what Bitcoin is, just like what the majority wants, or the Bitcoiners want Bitcoin to function, and we won't upgrade it unless we all agree that the upgrade is worth making. And the way to paraphrase that is that Bitcoin can only get better and never get worse,
Mm.
because we define better by what happened in Bitcoin. It's also like how we define truth by we've all accepted that the blockchain is the truth. The map defines the territory, and that's a first for humans. We've never had that before. So I think there's so much to unpack in this, and it's much deeper and much more profound than uh, it's like it's a paradigm shift, packaged as a toy or a novelty
It
to the
it
masses, but it's really it's like bigger than the wheel or the discovery of fire. It's just everything.
it really is, and I think people unfortunately take a few headlines. They might listen to a podcast or two. They might read a book and think like, okay, Bitcoin's not, legit, or it's a fad, or it's the tulips or whatever. Just yesterday, I was on a call with one of my mentors, and he's a really big podcaster, and he's a big entrepreneur, and he's really, I really respect him, and he's a very, very good person. And so I brought up in the chat, I was like, hey, what do you think about podcasting 2.0? What do you think about value for value? What do you think about, what Adam Curry's doing and all that stuff over on
Mhm.
Fountain and everything? And he was just like, his first reaction and comment was like, oh, it uses Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin kind of came and went. And now the ETH thing happened and it's using better energy. So everyone's going to do ETH. And I was just like, oh boy, and so to me, as, somebody who wants to help create, more truth and adoption out there, I'm like, oh man, I gotta have some deeper
E-
conversations with these folks.
Ethereum is code salad. That's what it is, and it's the merge to proof of stake. I mean, proof of stake is just like it's such a. That's what we live in now. That's what we're
Yep.
trying to get away from. The
Yep.
Fed is proof of stake.
Yep.
If someone, the guy with the most amount of money can print more money, then the system is flawed.
Yep.
It's centralized and it's flawed. And Ether has been that way the whole time. It's just all this blockchain talk. It's just a facade. It's just a charade to keep the ducks in line in that fraudulent system. And it's very sad to see people fall for it. Then again, Ether is laughably bad and laughably obviously a scam and a joke. But it's still the best attempt at killing Bitcoin so far. I think it's very likely to be a psyop to keep people away from Bitcoin. Like um, if you were to attack Bitcoins one way or another, like this is probably how you do it. You market something as being better than Bitcoin.
Well, in
And
marketing, right now with obviously all the climate stuff that's going on, and I think
it's so
conflating the
sad.
two,
It's so sad
yeah, it,
because, like, I mean, I I haven't checked the data myself on the climate science, but what I do know is that uh, enemies that you can't see and can't touch are very convenient for politicians to gain more control. There's
mhm,
always a threat of, like, like the notion of hell, for instance, is a
mhm,
very convenient tool for religious leaders
yep,
to scare their followers with, in order to make them do whatever they decide is the right thing to do.
yeah,
So terrorism, a virus, or climate change is just an updated version of the word hell. Like,
yep,
if you don't do what I tell you, hell will break loose and you will end up in hell.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're telling us. Then again, it might be true. Humanity might be destroying the planet in one way or another. There might be a threat, and so on. Uh, but what that should tell you is that if there's an actual threat, the I mean, don't put the arsonist in charge of the fire brigade. Don't put the pedophile in charge of taking care of your kids. That's like, and that's what we're doing when we're assigning politicians to solve the problem. The
Yeah.
politicians are the problem. They're the ones wasting the resources.
Yeah.
They're the ones that can spend money without cost to themselves. So if we had sound money, and if we had a sound free market, then the world would be a very different place, and we wouldn't all this wasteful stuff and all these, you know, Uncle Scrooge and Gordon Gecko and all these capitalist villains. That they're only bad because and they can only be like, you can only be an Uncle Scrooge in a fiat world, really. You couldn't be Uncle Scrooge on a sound money standard.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much to unpack here, Knut.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I think there's a couple things I want to bring up. I feel like politicians obviously are a disaster, and they're obviously in bed with big tech companies. They're obviously in
yeah.
bed with
Big
um,
banks and
banks and whatnot.
corporations.
And the threat to me of CBDCs coming forward as
Yeah,
surveillance tokens and as behavioral control
yeah,
mechanisms is terrifying. I mean, that terrifies me as somebody who sees what's happening over in China, and I'm like, oh, I don't want that, and
no,
it's like bit by bit by bit. And then with the pandemic and with them, oh, here's some money to make you guys feel better because we love you and we're going to take care of you. Same thing with the climate stuff. And so
yeah, yeah,
my concern with the conflating the environmental stuff with Bitcoin and the ETH thing, and the World Economic supports ETH and is like, oh, it's great. Like, I just see the writing on the wall for a lot
yeah,
of this kind of takeover mindset. And it's very,
yeah.
yeah.
The left blames the corporations. The right blames the state.
Mm,
But what they both miss is that, like, they're just two symptoms of the same cancer, which
yeah.
is the monetary system.
Yeah.
Because when there's a single entity controlling the money supply, the whole system is corrupt.
Yeah.
So the closer you are to the monetary spigot, the more you benefit from it, and the more everyone else have to pay for your expenses. So the
Yeah.
big corporations and the big state, they're just two sides of the same coin. Uh, so if you want to solve any societal problem that humanity may or may not have, you have to start by fixing the money. There's no other way. You can't fix anything, especially not the environment, if you don't fix the money first.
Yeah. You definitely cannot fix the environment if we're not fixing this money. I just had Rob from Upstream Data on yesterday, and I had a couple other miners. And to this
Hmm.
month is, I don't know if you know, it's Pleb Miner Month. Um,
Oh, I didn't know.
so it's kind of cool. So it's Pleb Miner Month, and they're the guys from Ungovernable Misfits, Max and John. And then there was another gentleman, John, from Hashing to Heating. And
Mhm.
so I got to do different episodes with them. But, you know, to me, the environmental conversation really needs to get brought these solutions to certain things like, oh, you want to heat your house? Okay, we'll plug in an S9,
Yeah,
and you can have a space heater, right? Because you're going to be heating your house anyways. So
yeah,
you might as well have a little bit of hash that you can contribute and maybe get a little Bitcoin in exchange, right? And so there's,
absolutely.
you
And
know,
like, there are all these uh, fantastic solutions with Bitcoin. Like, Bitcoin is the industry that uses the most renewables of all, high energy industries, because it takes energy that otherwise would have been wasted and monetizes it. So it
mhm,
incentivizes people to use renewables, so it solves that way. But the real big thing that people miss is, like, if money isn't costly to produce, then then everything else gets more expensive over time.
Hmm.
And if we have inflationary money, we're incentivized to overconsume all the time.
Yeah.
And if GDP has to go up every year, there, if we're living in a fiat system, Keynesian economics systems, they are uh, dependent on consumerism being worse and worse every year, and Bitcoin is the literal opposite of that. So it solves our need for material bullshit things, and that's where the real solution to any overconsumption problem lies. Like, take away the incentive for people to overconsume, and you will have a more peaceful world, and a more loving world, and a more stable society.
I think, yeah. And I think the consumption model is so broken on so many levels for all of us. We're consuming, not only physical goods that are, why do we need all this extra crap, right? Um, the consumption model of the types of foods that we're eating is broken. The consumption model for the things that we're filling up in our mind, our
Yeah,
our our data, and our fake news and media. I think we're bombarded with toxic things that are not necessarily designed for our flourishing. They're designed for confusion,
yeah,
mass
yeah. They
media,
are.
and they're designed to keep us tired and weak, like not healthy food, the sugar, all the crap. um
Yeah, just look at how many, like, a supermarket, like the vegetable aisle, or the fruit, and the vegetables in the supermarket. They need to show a display of too much stuff and throw like 90% of it away the other day, because the bigger and flashier your supply of stuff is, the you know supply creates demand in a fiat economy. And that's so sad, because if we could somehow manage change people's mindset around what they need and what they don't need, then we would solve that too, and we wouldn't be as wasteful. And that's like, that's the big revolution, and that's what everyone misses and leaves out of the equation.
Well, what do you think? I mean, like, we have a scarcity mindset that is constantly pushed in our faces from uh, these multi-billion-dollar advertising companies that are saying,
Hmm.
you're not pretty enough, you're not rich enough, you're not successful enough, you're not this, da da da. And it's like the only way for you to be able to fit into our society and be accepted in the tribe and not excluded, which is a survival instinct, is for you to have our stuff. And then people buy into that, and not only do us adults who know better sometimes get tricked into the, like, oh right, I'm supposed to have this thing, and I'm going to go, give up my time for something that's just really not going to fill me up on my deathbed, right? Our children are being poisoned by this. And so for us adults, I mean, how do you handle this, in your family? Like, do you I you know
It's
how do
hard.
we
It's hard. The kids get bombarded, and they get bombarded, like TikTok, for instance. It's just an assault on our kids' brains. Like, the attention span of kids these days are it's just ridiculous. They move on to the next thing. They just click, click, click. So they're being programmed.
Yeah.
But I think the way out of it, the only shot we have at getting out of this mess is Bitcoin, of course, because, like, you say adults. Is there such a thing as an adult in modern society? Like, can you really have you really grown up if you haven't experienced life outside of this slavery
Yeah.
vicious circle that we're in, where we think material things are where we find happiness? I mean, you're just a slave to your instincts, if you're stuck in that. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
Well,
I'm guilty as charged too. I mean,
mhm.
I get I have my cravings and urges too, and I buy stuff every now and then,
Yep.
and I'm not as, you know, uh, stoic to my kids as I wish I was sometimes, and so we're all, but we have to forgive ourselves, because we're living in this in the midst of this transition to this new and better world, and we will just have to make the best of it, and try our best to deliver a message, at least to the next generation, that there's something, some things in life are more important than this crap that is being advertised everywhere.
Yeah, and I really feel like the transition, from, I kind of think of, before and after Bitcoin, like in our lives, right? Like, I think my experience and people who I really want to help and serve are people who are making that before and after transition and figuring out, like, holy shit, my whole world view and everything is shattered, and my old relationships are not making as much sense as they used to. um so it's almost like the crab when it goes from one shell to another. It's that kind of naked point in the
Yeah,
middle, and I'm like, we all need a little support and help, and I think that's where we all come into play with each other and be like, we got you. Like you said, we do things for each other. As Bitcoiners, it's not like, oh, give me some money because I referred you to like, no, like, we all win when,
yeah,
when you win, I win, Bitcoin wins, our kids win, Earth wins, everybody's winning.
yeah,
um and I think we need to have, daily practices, whether it's meditation, whether it's music, whether it's walking, dancing, journaling, whatever it is that like gets you in tune with your own inner power, and that inner voice of truth and strength. And if you believe in whatever you believe in, like, connect with that. Right. And so I think it's important for all of us to have like a warrior, stance here, but we're
yeah.
still gentle too. We're still human. We're still going to go, like, I know I'm the same way with my kids. It's like, of course, I feel like our visit here to Earth, like, I have no clue what happens after we're done, but I don't want to like miss out on the sweetness and the
Eh,
joy and the fun
no,
because I'm trying to be too
and
stoic, but I also don't want to like blow it and not, make a better world than I
no, but
found it.
that's the thing. It's very likely that life after death will be just like life before birth. So I mean, that's the likeliest scenario, that you'll experience nothing, which is just nothing. And I think that the very notion of our time on this earth
Mm,
being finite and scarce
yeah.
is what gives its value.
Yeah.
If we were indestructible and immortal, we wouldn't have to do anything ever. We could just postpone everything to the day after and just say, fuck it, I'll do that tomorrow or
Yeah.
next year or like in 100 years or 1,000 years. If we were immortal and indestructible, we wouldn't have to do anything ever. So the only thing that gives us that makes us assign value to one action above another, one thing above another, one service above another, is that our time on this earth is scarce. And Bitcoin is the first thing that provides us with a perfect representation of that scarcity of our lives.
Hmm.
Uh, so it maps onto something deeply rooted in human existence, which is the scarcity of time, and
What
there's nothing else like that.
It's true. And you were saying that in the, oh gosh, the book I was listening to, sorry, the Independence Reimagined. Sorry, I was just listening to
Oh
that,
yeah,
like I had said, but just talking.
this is the book that people don't know about, even though it's the most quoted book. It is the one shot principle is in there, and a bunch of other stuff.
It
It's
was a
a
great,
bit
I loved
shorter.
it. And it was short. It was like
Yeah,
2.5 hours, I think, was the length of it. But, you
it's
know,
more of a pamphlet than a book.
but it got the point across, but talking about the absolute scarcity of Bitcoin, then, and like there's no other resource like that we know of, that has been brought to our attention. And I don't think that's highlighted enough for new people. They don't think they understand why that is so important
No,
and how it equates to like every breath that you take and every moment you have. It's you never get it back. It's scarce. It's not like you don't have a million years guaranteed to get to dance here on earth, in your skin suit. Uh, it's very, I think it's an important part of life, to remember
absolutely.
that.
And
Um,
like, but all analogies in Bitcoin are wrong. Like, there's no way to describe this. Like, we say wallet when it's really a set of keys to sign stuff with. It's like, it's not really wallet. We say blockchain. It's not really a blockchain. We say time chain. That is
mhm.
also slightly wrong. There's no good metaphors for, like, digital gold. That's not it either. I mean, Bitcoin
Right?
is very different from gold.
Yep.
It's so we have no good words to use.
It's difficult, and I know Gigi was, I liked his article about the language and the vocabulary and how it is important that we talk about that and have that
Yeah,
shared understanding, because I think obviously analogies and metaphors are helpful, because then you
yeah.
can at least sort of associate like, okay, well, it's kind of like this, but it's not that,
G-
but it's kind of
GT
like it. It's the closest thing you can get, but then you have to still go like and pull it apart. I think
GT had the
even
most brilliant talk in Riga. I mean, he's imagine that me like, he's one of the guys I hung out with the most in Riga in 2019, and
nice.
that's before I was like a name and before he was a name. Like, so nobody knew who we were. We sort of knew each other from Twitter, but
Uh-huh.
that's it. And today he's like one of the one of the most brilliant minds on the planet. I,
I
I
would
really I really think so. And his talk in Riga, he starts with, knowledge is power. Bitcoin is knowledge. Knowledge is power. Francis Bacon. So France is bacon. And then, like, knowledge is bacon, Bitcoin is bacon. And then he puts like the word bacon 24 times is actually a Bitcoin address. So Bitcoin is bacon. Like, so yeah, and it's so good and it's so profound when you start thinking about these things. Well, it's a brilliant joke, but it's brilliant in more ways than as a joke. It's true. Bitcoin, a seed phrase is just 24 words. You can remember them and provide yourself with superpowers. It's profound. It's like it's going to change everything.
yep.
And a Bitcoin private key, a Bitcoin transaction can fit into an SMS. And if you throw a dice 99 times, you have a Bitcoin address. Like, yeah, understand, people. This is going to change everything.
I know it is wild, wild, wild. And I get every time, I mean, I swear, all I do is think about Bitcoin all the time. And I can't wait to like, at the end of the day when I start getting tired, I'm like, I just want to go to sleep so I can wake up and have my energy back because I want to go do Bitcoin stuff and I want to do music and love and I want to get this out there. It's so powerful, and what got me completely hooked on Bitcoin was listening to one of Alex Gladstein's interviews last year. Um, I'm only like a little over a year into Bitcoin, and I love it, and I totally get it. I got it. Like, oh, yep, let's do that. And um, but when he was talking about a woman that was fleeing her country, and she like took everything she had with her, and she had her seed phrase, and when she got to the new country, she had always, of course, been robbed, and things were taken from her, and she didn't really have any more of her possessions, but she had her seed phrase, and she could start a new
Yeah,
life and escape
knowing is
that.
owning.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And like when I heard that, I'm like,
Yeah,
so you mean people living under oppression, if they're in an abused relationship, if they live in a shit country, whatever it is, like
doesn't matter.
they can leave and then they can go have a new life and transact in it. They
Yeah,
don't have to carry wads of cash or a bar of
and
gold or some
they can
diamonds up
take
their
it.
butt,
They can
whatever.
take their Bitcoin to their graves and actually keep them.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that. You know Hal Finney.
I was just thinking of him.
He cryo froze his head. You know
Mhm.
this.
Yeah.
Imagine that he memorized Bitcoin private key before he did that,
Yeah.
and that we somehow, like 400 years from now, we figure out a way to resurrect frozen heads, and he comes back to life and spends Satoshi's coins.
So did he only cryo freeze his head, not his whole
Yeah,
body?
no, only his head.
Interesting. I didn't know that part. I thought it was the whole kit and caboodle. I
Yeah,
wonder,
it's a long shot, the cryo freezing thing, and
but it's worth
I'd rather just give my Bitcoin to my kids, to be
yeah,
honest.
but who knows? I mean, who knows if his donation could help people with discovering a cure for what he had, the ALS, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I don't know if there's something being done on that, but there should be something in his honor about ALS research. Then again, you don't know these things. Like, would he have been the person he was without the ALS? Did the ALS help Bitcoin?
we
Scary thought, but like, I don't know.
yeah, who knows? I mean, that's the thing. It's like we're all who we are because of a result of all those thumbprints that we talked
Exactly.
about. And so if we weren't that person, of course we're going to be someone else. And I think do you know who Richard Bach is? He wrote like Jonathan Livingston Seagull and One and Bridge
No.
Across Forever and Illusions. Dude, you got to read some Richard Bach. You got to read Illusions.
Okay.
Such a good book. When I used to live on the boat, like I read tons of Richard Bach, and uh, Illusions was a really, really profound book for me. But
DM me some links afterwards.
okay, I will. They're really, really good. But
I have like a pile of 20 books that I want to read, though.
you'll read it. Like Illusions is a quick read. I think you can read it in, maybe 4 hours. I try to read it every year.
Audio?
Maybe, but I want to get you the book. I'll send you the book. Because it's
All right.
it's worth having, and it's nice to touch. And yeah, it's a cool little book. But in one of the other books, he talks about, the
I see
split.
both Tomer's book and Gigi's book behind you. Then.
Yeah, and your book is
Yeah.
usually there, but I'm holding it now, so
All right.
yeah.
Yeah, good to see my friend's
Heck yeah,
books.
man! I love these guys, and but we talk, what Richard, and a lot of people do this. It's the road less traveled, etc. But like at every microsecond, everybody has an opportunity to go left, right, up, down, all that, and so they talk about, the idea and the concept of these parallel realities that happen and that are concurrently happening, and so you think about Hal with ALS and you think about Hal without ALS, and would we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
had Bitcoin, and all of those kinds of things. And so that's that infinity mind puzzle that is just like, wow. But I think, we're a sum of our experiences, we're a sum of our tragedies, we're a sum of our triumphs. And,
Yep.
I know I've had a lot of both, and I wouldn't trade any of them because I like who I am in this moment. I mean, I'm not perfect.
Good to hear.
I'm a
No,
shit
no,
show
but good to
sometimes.
hear. I mean, it's your last chance to enjoy this moment, and
Yeah.
that's always true. Like,
Yeah.
you have one shot at enjoying this very moment right now, at all times.
At all times. And so the book, let's see, where is my finger? This book up here. Do you know Ram Dass?
Nope.
Okay, you are so lucky. You're gonna love these books.
Okay.
I'm gonna get you Be Here Now. You're gonna love it for sure. Um, we'll talk after, and I'll send you these books.
Be Here Now was a very crappy Oasis album back in the day.
Oh, well, do you know who Ram Dass is? Have you heard of Ram Dass?
Nope.
Okay,
I
you're
don't
gonna
believe
love
so.
it. I sent Tomer this book. He loves it.
All right.
Chiefy has it. So a bunch of it's such a good book, and I'm just gonna send it to you. So, and then we'll talk about it another time.
All right. All right.
It's definitely up your alley.
Thank you.
I want to honor your time, and I mean, I could talk to you for 20 hours, so I want to make sure I'm not like
Yeah.
bombarding you with too much. How much time do you have? Like, so I want to.
Not an infinite amount. I mean, I'm home alone with my son here, so I'm planning on spending some time with him too.
Perfect. Okay, it's
Yeah,
Friday
I
night. How
already
about?
did another pod today as well. So
Oh
yeah,
wow. Okay.
I
Well
don't
then,
want to rush you, but I don't
no.
want to want it to take forever either.
Yeah, totally. Well, what I thought could be fun, because we titled this, the Bitcoin sailing music, etc. Let's share with the audience some of Knut's music. Woohoo! Oh, hold on, it's loading up. Give it a second. There we go. Okay. Okay, so let's pick. Do you want to do Fleet? Let's talk about it. So let's talk about your musical background. So folks who don't know that you're a musician, obviously you're a sailor, you're a Bitcoiner, you're an author, you're badass, one of my heroes. Yay! Um, um, tell everybody what's your scoop with the tunes, and let's hear some of these.
Like yeah, I've been playing music for most of my life. So I've been in various bands as like side project. Music has never been my sole career. uh, but I've always been writing songs and doing music. So Fleet of Clay is the band that I had with my brothers like 15 years back. Uh, that's like when we attached a name to it and recorded some stuff. Like, I mean, I always play with my brothers whenever I see them nowadays too. So this is one of the songs we made. It's about a B movie called The Mist, which I really liked. So the song is about the movie.
Okay, can I play it? Is that okay?
Sure.
We'll play just a short clip, because I want to play some one of the other things too. So can you hear it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
A tree crashed through the window and the boathouse got all smushed, as Billy said. A really windy day, we drove downtown to buy supplies and saw some military vehicles on the way. An old man yelled at something to John Lee as he came running through the door. While the local grocery store with some mist filled up the parking lot. That's something that we'd never ever seen before.
Oh my gosh.
And as we went up back to check the generator, something started banging on the door. Tentacles as big as anacondas took Norm.
If you
Oh my God.
if you fast forward to the end, that's my brother's guitar solo there, which is
Okay, hold on.
yeah. So like there's some.
Right there. Oh, dude, look at that thing.
Yeah.
That's Ethereum.
And then it just ends.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to
This is an old one.
do you want to listen to this one, or do you want to go to The Lure of the Beast?
Lure Out the Beast? Yeah, that was like my latest band, a sort of a grungy metal project.
Do you want the official video one or the Forest Sessions?
No, the official video one. That's the one that this got featured on the Pirate Bay's like promo site for bands called the Promo Bay.
Oh, cool.
So that's why it has like 100,000 YouTube views, because it was up there for 3 days and just got all these, every pirate, internet pirate on the globe got to see this.
Oh,
And
Okay, so
I
where are
was
you?
just this is like the first time I was. So when is this? 2014.
Yep.
This sort of went viral over whatever you call that, like for at least 3 days. So I was pressing F5 on my keyboard and just seeing what happened, and got all these compliments in the comments, and like, you sound like Soundgarden, you sound like Tool, and you sound like Alice in Chains, and I was really happy about that.
This is some dope
Because like,
shit. Yeah, Pirate Bay. Yeah,
yeah,
dude, that's awesome.
yeah,
These
and
guys sound fucking
we made
great.
this in our rehearsal room slash studio with a movie director. Just came there for a day and had some smoke machines and some lighting, and we played to the song, and tried to look like rock stars, and well,
It's
it's
so
got a
much
life of its own
fun.
now. Yeah,
Okay, well, so where are you in the? Are you singing? Like, are you
I'm the
lead?
singer, the
You're the
lead
lead,
singer
and
and
this is your
guitarist.
long
Yeah,
hair.
yeah.
Ah, let's go.
There I am.
Yahoo!
Out of time, out of place, out of wine,
I'm not out of line.
out of
You're not out of wine. We got Knut's wine. Knut's wine. Nice, dude.
Grab the car, go to rails, over us. Over us.
That reminds me, I need a haircut.
Oh my god. So Knut, let's talk, man. Because like, do you know Anonymal? Have you met Anonymal yet?
Oh, the metal band.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know about them, and I've heard the song, and like, I think Daniel Prince interviewed them, or recommended them to me.
He's great, and I got to interview him too. And so maybe you guys could do something like
Yeah,
you know.
I don't know about metal or grunge anymore. Like, I have a bunch of songs. Like, what I've done after all the music project stuff is like, I have like between 5 and 10 songs that are at least influenced by Bitcoin, and
Are they
some
up
of them
here?
are about no, not recorded yet. So I'm sort of looking for a way to do that, and like how to put that thing together.
Okay.
But I don't want to, I don't want to make it a like overdub, like you play that, I play that. I would like to do something proper with that, and like put a band together, and rehearse the songs, and figure out a way to make it something special, if I'm to do something with it at all. I mean, yeah.
Okay, well, so check this out. So do you know Tomer's recent article, "The Legendary Treasure of Satoshi Nakamoto"? Did you get to read that yet?
Yes, a very good
Gorgeous.
article.
Yummy, right? Yum.
Yeah, I love Tomer and his
Totally, yeah.
style. He's got his own voice for sure.
Totally. And so,
I talk to Tomer like once a fortnight or something like that. Like, so we keep in touch since Miami. I mean, yeah, I felt a deep connection with that guy.
yeah,
Definitely.
me too. Totally. So, this is so exciting. So we are starting. There's about right now. There's 17 of us. There's going to be more because it's just going to grow, I would imagine. But when I used to DJ, I had this group called Valerie and the Vibe Tribe, right? And so we used to have like stilt walkers and aerialists and costumes and fire dancers, and I would bring in different drummers, flute players, guitar players, different types of dancers, whatever. And we would do visual projections, whatever the budget was, we maxed it out and created these fun, entertaining shows, right? And for me as a DJ, I always wanted to play music that was inspirational, of course, fun and sassy and raw, but like always positive messages, And so, looking at the whole landscape of all of the wonderful Bitcoiners out there, whether they're music video producers, whether they're authors, whether they're, podcasters, writers, whatever, whether they're, digital artists, whether they're physical artists, whether they're painters, whatever. I'm like, what if we, and of course, all the educators, I'm like, what if we created a Bitcoin opera that would be sort of like a Bitcoin rock opera, like Tommy and the Who, and something with Cirque du Soleil. And so creating something that would be this just gorgeous musical interactive experience, and taking possibly using Tomer's piece, deciding like what the acts would look like, but really like, let's bring all of us together with all of our passions and our beautiful talent and create something and present it next year at Miami, but like Pacific Bitcoin's coming up. And so, and I get to speak in El Salvador too, which is like, oh my
Oh
God,
yeah.
thank you. And so I want to,
Congratulations.
thank you. I'm just feeling like super humbled, and I'm like, I hope I can do a great job and serve everybody, but like, I'm like, it would be, it's so fun to create something together. So tomorrow morning we're having our second just kind of hang session, brainstorm meeting. And, have you ever seen like video mapping and projection mapping, like on different buildings or things like that?
Yeah, I have.
And
Yeah,
so like,
I'd love to be a part of something like that. So you have like a Telegram group or
yeah,
something?
we have a Telegram group. I'll add you.
But like with these songs that I've written since songwriting is weird, and like some stuff is more personal than other stuff, and you can write songs for a project, but you approach that in another way than if you're just writing for your own pleasure, and like and with these, like the songs I have now that I've written after all the band projects, they're very personal, and they're like, if I'm to do anything with those songs, I want it to be, I want to be able to be the control freak dick that I am, and so try to serve the songs right. But then again, I love collaborating with people too. So that there's a fine balance there. You have to sacrifice some of your ego, of course, in making music. But then again, I do think that the best songs out there are written by a single person with a vision. so collaborative stuff tends to be sometimes too jammy, and sometimes you get constellations where like four people just click, and that's a band, and that's like the best experience ever when it works. But it's rare that it does, and it's hard to find those moments, and it's hard to find and making music and producing music and recording music takes a lot of time and energy. And when you have all these other fun stuff to do with the writing and the Bitcoin conferences and with animations or whatever, you have to make sacrifices and choose one above the other. So it's hard for me to see a moment in time where I can fit music in, because like also when you're a family man, this sounds like just a whole bunch of excuses here, but when you're a family man, you can't really do, because what I would like to do if I'm to do another music project is just lock myself up in a studio with 3 other guys for 2 months and see what comes out the other end. And you can't really do that when you have a family.
Nope.
So but I think creativity, John Cleese wrote a very good book on creativity just a couple of months back, by the way. It's a
really, what's it called?
Creativity, or on creativity.
Okay, cool. Cool.
So it's just the audiobook is just an hour long, and he's reading it himself, and it's I could relate to like everything in that, because what you need in order to be creative is like you need a space where you not only are you not interrupted, but you need to know that you're not going to be interrupted, which is why creativity is so hard these days when you get notifications every fucking second from some fucking platform somewhere.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so
Well,
you need to turn everything on. Like, it's hard to write Pink Floyd's The Wall in 2022 for sure, because when everything is like everyone's attention span is like 2 seconds, and you can put something, you can put together a really well produced ad that lasts for 20 seconds, but like making a 3 hour long album, that's just not going to happen. So it's a different world. It has its pros and cons, but like, uh, yeah, I have a longing for deep diving into some sort of creative project with other people, but the big hurdle is finding the place and the time to do that, because I really think you need to. Um, you need to shield yourself from the outside world for a long time in order for it to become as good as it can be.
I think that there's a lot to be said for that. And obviously, there's a lot to be said for locking ourselves up in studios together and turning everything off. I think one of the problems we have too is a lot of our production is on our computers. So
Yeah,
we're if we do not like, put a wall up and be like, I'm
no,
not
they need to be
touching the internet
disconnected.
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so that's a whole thing. But so
and
this,
it's the same with me. For me, it's the same with writing. Like, at
yeah.
least the first two books I wrote. The second book is a good example. We were on holiday here in Spain over Christmas, and I wrote every morning. Like, I woke up 2 hours before the rest of the family, went to
Mhm.
bed the same time, and I sleep for 2 hours less than everyone else. So I woke up 2 hours before everyone else,
Yep.
and that's when I know I'm not going to be interrupted. So that's when I find the inner peace to do writing. Uh,
Yep.
when you know that you have that there's even a slight probability of you being disturbed, it's just not worth it anymore, because you lose your train of thought, and then what comes out the other end is not as good as it would have been. So you just say, fuck it, I'll do this some other
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, and you're obviously, yourself well enough to know what kind of environment suits you in your
Yeah, yeah,
working. So you
of
took
course. Everyone's different, and
yeah.
like, we have our different creative processes. You know, if I hadn't quit the last band, I probably wouldn't have started writing. So there's
Mm.
something to say there too. Like, uh, the, I didn't become a rock star until I stopped trying to be one.
Well, it's like
so,
the
so
thing your grandfather said, right? And
yeah,
so
yeah, it's sort of like when you let go, and when you allow yourself to think out of the box and try something different.
Mhm.
That's when you can, maybe you can find something. I don't know. Yeah, I keep on talking, but yeah.
I think, yeah, and it's just, well, as an artist, you're always evolving, you're always adapting, you're always like, how's this
Yeah.
going to flow? And you don't want to repeat what you just did, but you want to take some stuff from that,
And
your skill sets
what
and
does that even mean, being an artist? I mean, like, an artist is someone who's trying to project a persona, or like,
mm,
you're selling yourself, or you're selling something. But a song can be a very personal thing that is not really for others to listen to, but like for your closest friends, and it's like,
well, and it's a self-expression mechanism, right? And so to me, I think every human is an artist, whether they think so or not, and some, my ex and I,
I know a bunch of people that aren't artists.
well, I think it's a mindset. If you're a chef, if you're somebody who's a business superstar, and it's like, yeah, I love to assemble these
Yeah,
things and turn them into something new and different that wasn't there
both of
before.
my brothers are chefs, by the way. The
Oh,
ones I
cool.
played with in this first band. So there's a definite connection between cooking food and making music. It's about the same. I love cooking, and I
Hmm.
have a couple of dishes that I think I do well, and like perfecting those, and adding little parts here, and it's very much like producing music. It is.
It's funny. I interview Enki, who's in the opera group. He's a really, really awesome music producer and Bitcoiner, but he's also a chef, and it's part of his, you know, just expression. And sometimes he's like, if I have a horrible day, like I'll be making like a 14-hour meal because it just helps me like focus and be, like I love doing food and sharing it with people. And there's a lot to be said, obviously, for music and food,
Yeah,
and kind of bringing people together, and I think it's really cool. And obviously for me as a DJ, like I'm not, uh, I'm somebody who takes all the different parts and pieces that other people
yeah,
have
yeah,
done, and then I can assemble them into like an interesting experience, and a journey. And
yeah.
so,
A dish,
yeah, exactly. That's kind of
a
where I
dish
thrive.
jockey.
I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm a dish jockey.
but
I love
but
it.
yeah, yeah, and like one of the best feelings in life is when you get to do something that you love doing,
Yeah.
and that you feel that you're sort of good at doing, and like winning your own y- y- your own race, or like the sport you invented, you're winning at that, and then like you're doing something that you feel like this is what I ought to be doing. And when you're in that zone, and you do that, that's like one of the best places to be mentally, I think.
Would you call
uh,
that a flow state?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
uh, and my writing is very stream of consciousness, a stream of consciousness thing. I think a mistake most writers make, when in hindsight, having written 3 books now, the key to killing your writer's block is to not know what you're going to write about. So like you start the chapter with a bunch of questions,
Mm.
and then you try to answer them best you can. But if you know beforehand what you're going to write about completely, then there's no excitement for you. It's not interesting to read what you write, and
Yeah.
and then it becomes boring. And then you have these chapter names, and you got the book laid out, and this writing becomes this tedious process of just filling the book with words,
Yeah.
and that's not a journey. So you won't embark on it.
Well,
uh,
I can equate that too. Like I'm working on a book called Snap Goes the Mommy, and it's just about it's
that's a
about
good
like
name.
it's a great name, right? And because it's Snap Goes a human, Snap Goes anybody, right? It's just kind of like like even the strongest people can lose their shit, and how to stay strong and get back on track, all those things, and just the humility involved of being a
Mhm.
human.
Yeah.
But to me, like as a DJ too, like I never know what I'm going to play. Like I know that like there's some chunks of like, okay, these things kind of go together. These things kind of go together. These things kind of go together. When I'm, whether I play by myself or for crowds of thousands of people, it's like I got to read the vibe of the moment, right? Like I think like, well, I think I'm going to go in this direction. It's kind of like having sex too. I'm not like, okay, we're
Yeah.
gonna do 3 things in this position and over here. I don't know. That's not fun. Like I don't have an outline of my
No,
experience
no,
like that. That makes it. Who would want to do that? And so,
no.
I
I
think if
mean,
we approach it that way, it's a lot more pleasant, and you never know what's gonna happen. Um,
yeah, and then you can improvise around the things you think you know, and that's when music gets good, and cooking gets good, and sex gets good. Like this,
Woohoo!
you improvise, and you play the flute best you
Exactly.
can. Yeah.
I actually am a flute player. Oh my god, that's so funny. Um,
Oh,
wow.
yeah, I have to. Like, yes, about 20 jokes came up there in my head, and I'm not going to tell you even one of them.
Oh my god. Yeah, this could go on for hours, my friend. I really want to honor your time with your son. And let's put a thumbtack in this, because here's what I want to do. I'm going to send you Illusions and Be Here Now, and then check them out on your reading stack whenever you feel like it, and then we'll revisit this. But I'll put you up in the Bitcoin Opera in Telegram.
All right.
And but here's what
Yeah.
I want to do first before we do that, because hold on. I want to share your website, because I saw you drinking wine. Ha ha ha. And I want everybody to know that
I'm
let's see.
drinking a shitty wine, but I'm making a very good wine.
Yay. It's so
And
cool.
yeah, I had the first tasting of this thing.
Okay, hold
So,
on. Where is
all
it?
right,
Right here.
on
Hold
my
on. Right
website,
there.
there's
There it is.
the Infinity Red. We decided to. I think this this project will happen. Like you can pre-order it there. You don't have to pay anything. You just sign up for like you want a bunch of bottles of wine. So I wanted to make a good wine, so we decided to set the price at 21 euros.
Nice.
And a bunch of other things about the wine is designed around the number 21. So the wine I tasted was like a Bobal Reserva, which is an aged wine. The Bobal grape is sort of big in wine circles, but not that popular among normies. But according to this winemaker, I know it's popular about in wine circles, and that's mixed with a young. I think it was a Cabernet or a Merlot. I can't remember, or a Syrah. I can't remember at this point. But the big thing about the wine was the mature Bobal. As you can hear, I'm not the wine guy here, but I trust my wine guy to know the wine stuff.
Well,
So that was a 50-50 between the two, and when we tasted it, we both felt like this needs to be a bit more on the Reserva side. I like the combo of young and old. So we decided to go 70-30 instead. So you get the 21 thing there too, like a 7 and a 3, and so there's a bunch of decisions like that happening. You can order it in boxes of 3 or 21, and maybe 7. I don't know. I was thinking of selling them by single bottle first, but that would be too tedious to ship them. We'll have to do everything ourselves from down here. So a box of 3 or box of 21. And yeah, we'll see what that ends up when we have enough. I think we have enough orders already, so the project will happen if nothing else stands in the way. And like I'm just waiting for the guy to come down here and start making it. So it'll take like 6 months from then to put it in casks and then letting it mature and mixing it together and putting it in bottles, I guess. So it'll take a while, but it'll be there sooner or later.
Awesome. I think this is so cool that you're adding this as one of your passions and interests.
Why not? I mean, I like wine. I'm not passionate about wine, but I like wine, and why not?
Why not? Yeah, exactly. Why not? Yeah. For sure. And then, okay, so this is for anybody who's listening and can't see the screen, because obviously this is going to be a podcast. Is you can go to Knut's website at knutsvanholm.com. And you can also go to Twitter at Knut Svanholm and follow him for sure. All the links are going to be in the show notes too at djvaleriebeloved.com. But what do you think? We've been tossing an idea around about maybe doing a sailing retreat for Bitcoiners.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Wouldn't that be fun? Why not? So like why not?
Yeah, why not?
I know, right? So that could be sort of a fun little opportunity. Like I lived on a boat for 3 years. I lived on a sailboat and taught sailing, and I'm in the mountains now, and I can't wait. I love my kids, but when they graduate in 4 years, like I'm going to go buy a catamaran and go sail and live on it again. But yeah, sailing is the jam. But I see you picked up your guitar. You're gonna wish us all a farewell with a little tune.
You want me to sing for you?
Yeah, dude, I love that.
Okay, well, let's see here. I haven't done this for a while, so I need to find the lyrics for.
Okay. Woohoo! I'm so excited. Okay, let me put you on the main.
Let's see let's see if I remember this. This is like the last one. Spill all the beans. Say what you mean. You'll be happier as an honest man on the moon.
will be marooned until people change their tune. In a foreign yet familiar land, you're a sovereign individual land, no longer chained, not playing games, not shackled to a hamster's wheelhouse's wheel. The whole ordeal will live in as a man who kneels in a foreign yet familiar land. You're a sovereign individual land. You can spill every beam that you have. In a foreign yet familiar land, you're a sovereign individual land. You can spill every beam that you have, or spill every beam that you have. Spill every beat that you have.
Snap, snaps. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Knut, thanks so much. Wow, what a great way to end this and celebrate music and Bitcoin and peace and sailing and love and family. I really, really, really honor you and appreciate you so much. And thanks for being here with me and taking all this time. And wow, any final words for before we wrap it? Obviously, that was a good final word.
Final words: lion's share, conundrum.
Are you telling me your seed phrase?
Mutton Rogan Josh, and no, I can't think of any more.
Right on. Well, I'm so grateful and thank you so much for taking all this time and talking with me. And it's so nice to catch up and hear what's
All
going
good fun.
on. Yeah, it's always fun. We're gonna have more fun.
What better way to spend a Friday night, right?
Yeah, totally. I know, right? And so I'm so grateful. And yeah, we'll talk offline about everything else. And just everybody who's listening, make sure you guys go check out Knut, follow him on Twitter, go to his website and get some wine and definitely get Bitcoin and everything divided by 21 million. Yeah.
Yeah. Is this live, by the way, or is this recorded?
It's live and it's recording. Right. Yeah. So I'll send you
a YouTube link.
I'll send you everything.
All right.
Yay. Oh, you're the best. Okay, cool. I will talk with you soon. And until next time, everybody, peace, love, and aloha. And thanks for tuning into Bitcoin, Peace, and Music. I'm your host, DJ Valerie. Be love. Woohoo. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Aloha.